So let me begin here. Last night, 2 nights ago, I think it was, Tucker released episode 1, what he was calling episode 1 of his new show. It's an independent offering that he's producing himself. He popped up on air, I think, out of his main studio and offered, it was about 11 minutes, his thoughts on the media and other things today. It was just a brief bit. Here's a soundbite from it.
Diversity is our strength. Trans women are women. Zelensky is Churchill. It's all self-evidently true. Doesn't need an explanation, and don't ask questions. By this point, it's possible that American citizens are the least informed people in the world. As of today, we've come to Twitter, which we're told there are no gatekeepers here. If that turns out to be false, we'll leave.
Okay, so he pops up his thoughts. And then Chadwick, like that, he reportedly got a letter from Fox News saying you breached your contract. You are required to stay exclusive to us. Because remember, as I first reported, he was not fired. He was just booted off of his show. They continue to pay him because they want to keep him muzzled through at least 2025. Well, he's having a legal battle with them. They're slow rolling it because the longer he's on the sidelines, the better for them. And this is Tucker's first real middle finger, I think, to them saying, I'm doing it. I will not stay muzzled. How do you see it?
Right. And Fox's lawyer said something about him rendering services. Well, I don't know if he's actually rendering services if he's not getting paid. From what I was told initially is that Twitter is not mentioned in his non-compete. And that is why I suppose that Fox News employees are allowed to use Twitter to express their opinions on issues of the day. And that would be apparently what Tucker did in this. He's not making money. He's not an employee of Elon Musk or partnering with Elon Musk in any way. And Fox people have said that they're committed to keeping him off the air until after the election. His contract runs out in early 2025. And they're certainly lawyering up. But I've heard from a lot of Fox people, you would know better than anyone, that this is pretty standard behavior for Fox, sending these threatening letters to people that were once employees or still under contract with them.
Mm-hmm. There, reportedly, and I haven't seen Tucker's deal, but reportedly there is a clause in it that prohibits him from, as you point out, rendering services of any type whatsoever, whether over the internet via streaming or similar distribution, or other digital distribution, whether known or hereafter devised. But Fox, of course, has allowed all of its personalities to post on Twitter since I was there. Since Twitter was born. And so there will be a dispute about whether this qualifies as a, quote, breach. I've been talking all along about whether Fox committed a prior material breach in connection with this whole thing. They cut the guy out of his show, and then they promptly engaged in what looked like a coordinated leak campaign against him. And in that vein, I want to get into this, Chadwick, because there is a bizarre new twist in this whole leak saga. All right, the federal authorities are now suggesting that an outside party, some guy I'd never heard of named Timothy Burke. He's apparently a journalist or a former journalist. He used to work for the sports website Deadspin, and then later for a short time at the Daily Beast, that this guy may have been behind the Media Matters video leaks on Tucker. The Media Matters ones, those little weird videos of him while he was on set and on cam, but not on the air. So this was first broken by the Tampa Bay Times. They reported that a federal prosecutor in Tampa wrote a letter to Fox News last month revealing that a criminal probe is happening. But the letter did not name the target of this criminal probe, but they said it relates to Fox News and, you should be aware as a potential victim. The Times managed to tie it to Mr. Burke, the Tampa Bay Times, adding to this letter, saying we know who the target is. It's this guy, Timothy Burke. And they reported that the FBI actually raided this guy's home. Tampa Bay Times reporting that the investigation, quote, concerns allegations of unauthorized computer access, interception of wire, oral, or electronic communication, conspiracy, and other federal crimes. Now that, to me, suggests hacking, interception of crime. My God, what? So this guy Burke, who is he? He's married to a Democrat city councilwoman down in Tampa. And we're all looking at this saying, what connection, if any, does he have to any of this? How would this guy get his hands on internal Fox News outtakes from Tucker's show? Well, his attorney has weighed in. His name is Mark Rash. He spoke to the Washington Post. He denied that anything illegal was done. But he seems to admit that his client accessed information regarding Tucker. He said to the Washington Post, quote, "We are confident that when all the facts come out, it will be demonstrated that Timothy never hacked anyone and that all the information he provided was accessible to the public." What? What do you mean it was accessible to the... How? What information? Now, that is apparently being investigated by the feds. And the feds are also apparently investigating not only these Media Matters leaks, we think, but the publication last fall of another unauthorized Tucker Carlson video. And that was an outtake from his interview with Kanye West. Right? So remember that came out. It had some clip about Ye saying some really weird things about, I don't know, fake kids being implanted at his home. I can't remember. But that was another unauthorized release. And now Burke's attorney is admitting to WAPO that Burke, he doesn't work for a news organization right now, but they say he's got a communications company, that he's, quote, still engaged in journalism. This was the quote. "Tim is a master at finding links to stuff publicly posted on the internet. If a video is posted, public, unencrypted, and unprotected, then there's simply no crime committed when a journalist like Tim finds it and accurately reports on it." I mean, all of this raises more questions, right? He found it. He found it on the internet. It was unencrypted. It was unprotected. How? Did someone give it to him? Did someone point him on where to look for it? How would he even know that? And did he then leak all of those videos to Media Matters? And did he leak at least 2 of those videos to the New York Times? Remember that April article that I've called people's attention to before? The April 26th New York Times article that first said there are problematic texts in connection with the Dominion litigation that got Tucker fired. Oh, and by the way, we've also seen 2 videos of him referring to women as yummy and talking about postmenopausal women. So is it possible this guy down in Florida leaked 2 videos of the many he would later allegedly give to Media Matters to the New York Times at the same time that someone was leaking confidential documents to the Times from the Dominion litigation that only Dominion and Fox News would have? I mean, this is like getting so twisted. All this is going to be investigated. Right now, it looks like multiple people were out to hurt Tucker Carlson. Chadwick, what do you make of it all?
So my first impression was actually when those videos were leaked was, so Tucker had been through this before, that there's a lot of third-party contractors that'll work on his nightly show. And I would know that, like, I'm in New York, he's in Florida. So a lot of my appearances would be through a mobile studio, or if I'm traveling, some local studio. My first thought when I saw those videos was that some third-party contractor at a mobile studio or a remote studio was just recording him because they could see him, during breaks or whatever. And they wanted to make some money to get on the, while this was in the news, and they sold it to Media Matters or whoever. That's what I initially thought. It happened to Tucker before. There was a few years ago that he was talking about how he had surgery and he took some painkillers, and actually the unedited audio was his sort of sympathizing with, basically opioid addicts, how horrible it is to be on these drugs. It was edited to make it sound like he was a drug addict, which he's been sober for over 20 years. But so this has happened to him before, and it was a third-party contractor who did that. So that was my initial thought. But then I wondered, of course, with access to things that only that Fox News and Dominion would have being leaked, seems suspicious. And then I wondered why would they the New York Times, or I'm sorry, then why would Fox News go on while this is happening and disparage him to the New York Times and say, well, he was fired over this racist text message he sent. One text message, it wasn't racist at all. And that all happened in conjunction with this. So then, I wondered if maybe Fox was behind these leaks and trying to create an atmosphere to turn against Tucker, which obviously backfired. Anyone who saw those videos, it sort of more endeared them to Tucker. It was just a guy being a guy and joking around with his staff.
Right. No, I said in the air at the time that if this was Fox behind these videos, they lost their fastball, because what about these videos would alienate Tucker's audience from Tucker? And I do know that Fox is in a deep panic about Tucker coming out and competing against them. They do not want that. They recognize he will hurt them, and they are doing everything in their power to keep him on the sidelines. I mean, we previously reported that the Fox Corp General Counsel went to the comms chief within Fox News, Irina Briganti, after that April 26 New York Times article hit, and said they believed she was the source of the leaks of at least those Tucker Carlson texts. All right. And they warned her she was going to be fired if they caught her leaking. And then we also know that it wasn't just that New York Times piece, by the way, that led the general counsel to suspect Irina of leaking. Like there's multiple issues, which will come out eventually. She denies it. She says it's all categorically false. But I mean, this is how panicked they are about him, about Tucker 2.0 Chadwick. They cannot have him coming out and competing against them. That's what this is all about. So he's turfed off to the side, but he's got to remain muzzled.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like now we're realizing that Tucker was sort of artificially not only extending the life, but relevance of cable news. And a lot of Fox's core viewers had it up to their ears with Fox just over the years, feeling betrayed by things that they'd done, and also realizing that Fox was this corporation that represented things in which they stood against as sort of more nationalist, populist, civil libertarians. But it seems like that they would give Fox a pass for the sake that they still had Tucker on the air. Fox might be doing all sorts of things. They might have called Arizona too early, et cetera, but they still let Tucker talk. They still let him on the air. So they must not be that bad. Now that they gave him the boot, we're seeing it now in the results. I mean, they're MSNBC's beating them in Tucker's old slot. I mean, I don't think those viewers are coming back. He was bringing people to cable news that wouldn't normally be there. And now those people are gone. They were only there for him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I'm going to get to the ratings in 1 second, but I do want to say all of this matters because, okay, if it was an outside party doing the leaking of the Media Matters stuff, that can't be held against Fox News unless Fox News somehow cooperated with it or somebody inside made it available. They're saying it was not unauthorized. So what the hell does that mean, right? But that does not resolve the question of who's leaking the Tucker texts in connection with the Dominion litigation, which he provided to the Fox general counsel only, right? That's who he had them. Fox had them and Dominion had them. And Dominion is denying that it provided any leaks of any kind. Why would it jeopardize its $800 million? Fox had every incentive in the world to try to hurt Tucker at the time these were surprisingly revealed. And the Daily Caller reported in late May that this same general counsel of Fox, Viet Din, reached out to a Tucker associate with a message for Tucker saying, one, Irene had been warned she was going to be fired if she were caught leaking, and two, saying a Fox board member was suspected of speaking to the press as well. Fox denies all of this, right? They told the Daily Caller it's not true. But all of this matters because if Fox was behind any of these leaks, it could very well be, as I've said, I believe it would be, a breach of contract, a prior material breach of the very deal they're now saying Tucker breached by dropping the first episode of that show on Twitter. All this is going to be played out in an arbitration. And Fox is in a very difficult position trying to say to an arbitrator, he said we don't have to pay him. Like we fired him, sort of, from his show without cause. Not even Fox is alleging they had cause for the termination. And he said, okay, here's your money back. You've gotten back the benefit of the bargain, your money. I've given you my benefit of the bargain, your money. Now just let me go. And the only thing they're going to be arbitrating over is whether they have the right to muzzle him. Now that it's spring, almost summer, feels like summer, it's time to get outside and enjoy your backyard. But does your backyard need a little upgrade, a makeover? Start with the perfect centerpiece, a Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. A Michael Phelps Swim Spa can transform your backyard into an oasis. Think of it, you with the family, you getting your exercise. The Swim Spa is an alternative to a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. Got a bad back? Sit in the hot tub. Want to get your exercise going in time for your bikini? Take advantage of the pool. Michael Phelps Swim Spas have a water current so you can swim, do aquatic exercises, or just have fun with your family. And because it's heated, you can choose your perfect water temperature and then use it all year long in any climate. Michael Phelps Swim Spas by Master Spas come in a variety of sizes to complement almost any yard. So even if you have a teeny tiny backyard, check it out. And this is not some long, intimidating project. In fact, delivery and installation can take less than a day once your space is ready. Michael Phelps Swim Spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas, the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. You're going to love your Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. Go check it out, masterspas.com. Put in that promo code MK, which will save you $1,000 on a Michael Phelps Swim Spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. masterspas.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.